Bad Boy ZT Elite and Bad Boy Maverick. Two upper-level residential mowers in the Bad Boy line. But what does that mean? What does it mean when we say upper-level residential? Well, we want to dive into these two mowers specifically here, give you all the great details of what you're gaining one series to the next, and why this might be a great option for you. We kind of wanted to dive into these two mowers here today. The interesting thing I think about these is that these are probably two of our hottest sellers here in the Bad Boy lineup. Why is that the case? Well, we're going to talk a lot about why those are. But once you get to that quote unquote upper level residential, what does that mean, right? When we say upper level, what is it that you're getting in a mower that makes it upper level residential to just below commercial? And why would you maybe choose a ZT Elite over a Maverick or vice versa? I think first to answer that question, we should go into kind of diving into the specs on each of these, kind of see some of the similarities as well as see what some of the differences would be between the two. So both of these mowers here are 2025 models. There's not many differences when you get into these ZT Elite and Maverick for differences between a 24 to a 25. A lot of those changes happen in the entry-level residential. So the main difference you're gonna see between the 2 years is gonna be right here. They now have adjustable steering arms on their ZT Elite and up for those models. Last year's models, they were just standard arms. If they were a little bit too tight, the best we could do is either flip them around, they still worked that way and protruded outwards a little bit more, or the other option was buying steering arm adjustments. So they were the ones that came standard on the Maverick and Maverick HD, and you could buy them for a couple $100 and put them on the ZT Elite. So if you look closely, you can see here, you have a couple inches of adjustment ability on these, which is a new feature. Outside of that, everything else is virtually the same. So if we start from the front of the mower and move to the back, the upgrades you get once you hit the ZT Elite start with suspension. This is the first mower that Bad Boy is putting suspension on standard. And the great thing about it is compared to a lot of competitors, with it coming standard, some other brands, it's an upgrade that you get that you have to pay up for, whereas this is built into the great price point Bad Boy offers. So when it comes to ZT Elite, what are some things you're seeing in the lower end residential line that stays consistent over here? Well, first things first, they're keeping that 7-gauge steel deck. That's something that Bad Boy does throughout their entire residential line and is a great option, usually a little bit thicker than most other brands. What they're also doing is keeping this rubber grass flap. That's another great feature. Other brands use plastic. This being a little bit more durable can take a little bit more of a beating when you're going around beds or around trees. That's another nice feature that's coming standard there. So where do those initial changes happen when it get to the ZT Elite that maybe makes it a worthwhile investment? Number one, you get a deeper cutting deck. So while it stays 7-gauge steel, this you're gonna notice is much deeper than what some models you might see on the Avenger or the Magnum or the Rambler series. So this can be a little bit deeper, which what a deeper cutting deck means is more space for the grass to flow around in there, get chopped up into finer pieces, and have a nicer finished product when you're cutting. So it adds to cut quality. Secondly, what you're gonna find is these rubber isolators. So this is the first series in Bad Boy that they're offering any form of suspension. They're putting it strictly in the front here. So how this works is these are two independent arms right here that meet at a pivot point in the center. As you go over uneven terrain, they're gonna kind of undulate like so to kind of support the inconsistencies in your yard. And they pair that with these rubber isolators that, if you can kind of watch here, as you lift up and down on the front, you can see how it separates and then it absorbs that up and down pounding that your mower will take when you're going over uneven terrain. So you're gonna notice a definite upgrade in comfort once you hit the ZT Elite line. So on any of these Bad Boy mowers, ZT Elite and up, you're always gonna get 3 engine options: a Kohler, Kawasaki, or Briggs. This one happens to have a Briggs engine on it, but you always have those 2 other options. Price points range a little bit. Usually the Kawasaki is the premium price point and the Briggs is the most cost-efficient price point. But the other reason why I kind of wanted to show the back of this is you see just how open and accessible everything is. That's another great feature in Bad Boy. Everything's very easy to see. The battery's incredibly easy to access. And you can just really, any sort of maintenance, if you're someone who does your own maintenance at home, very easy to get anything done you might need to get done on this mower because there's just a lot of space to work with. So on the ZT Elite, you can get a 48-inch deck, a 54-inch deck, or a 60-inch deck. Commonly what I tell people is if you have the space to fit a 60-inch, I think it's worth it to pay up a little bit more than the other models to be able to get a 60-inch cut. It's gonna save you time, and it's great to have less time on a mower. I know it's enjoyable to be on a mower, but a lot of people are mowing in the evenings when they get off of work, and time saves you money. Time lets you get back with your family, do what you want to do. And so if you can do a 60-inch, if that fits everywhere, I always think it's great to go with the 60-inch cut. When it comes to price point on the ZT Elite, if we're talking strictly 60 inches, the model with the Briggs engine is probably the best value in the entire bad boy lineup. This here with a 60-inch deck, the upgraded seat, as well as that 27 horse Briggs engine, retails at $52.99 cash or check. So that's gonna be a really great price point if you're comparing to other brands. If you get into a Kohler, you'll be somewhere around the $56.49 price point. And then if you get into a Kawasaki, you'll be closer to $59.99. Rough recommendation for your yard to kind of figure out if the ZT Elite is the one for you would be around like 2 to 3 acres. You probably go 2 to 4 acres. That'd be around what's recommended for the ZT Elite. So going over here to the Maverick series, right off the bat, you notice we have a 54 rather than a 60. So for being a direct comparison, this is just what was in the showroom right now. If we're gonna talk about a 54, you can obviously get it in a 60-inch cut as well. Similar to the ZT Elite, a lot is going to be similar. You see this front suspension here. The first change, however, is gonna be you notice the I-beam framing up front. The Maverick is going to be the last series that Bad Boy offers before jumping into a full commercial mower. So from the Maverick, you would go to the Maverick HD. So this would be the last machine that they classify as a residential mower. So a lot of when you get into the Maverick is going to look a lot more commercial than residential, starting with this I-beam frame. That's just a very commercial feature right there, adds some integrity and toughness to the frame, as well as when it comes to the suspension points as well. You'll also notice the seat looks eerily similar to the one on the ZT Elite, and that's because that seat on that specific ZT Elite model would be called a Maverick seat. So that's the same styling, the same back of the seat that's on the ZT Elite there. So standard seat that comes on a Maverick is this one right here. This is the last series before an air ride seat comes standard. So we just mentioned suspension on the Maverick series right here. On the front, similar to the ZT Elite, the unique thing about the Maverick series is that they now put suspension in the rear as well. So not only do you have it in the front, you have it in the rear. So the suspension in the rear is gonna go on either side of the wheelbase here. So you have 2 more rubber isolators on either side of the wheel. So you have 2 on this side, 2 on that side, and 2 on the front. So you're gonna get a lot of great stability all throughout the mower. Not only are you absorbing any hits that you take on the front of the mower, you're also gonna be absorbing it in the back as well to really create a very comfortable ride. This is the first one where I'd say, I think that with this setup, you can go without an air ride seat. I think an air ride seat's a tremendous upgrade, but because of this front and rear suspension, you actually get a lot of comfort that I think can kind of help do without an air ride seat. As I stated earlier, you can always get a Kohler, Kawasaki, or Briggs engine in the Maverick series. They're all still carbureted. The Maverick HD, which is commercial, is the first series they're offering fuel-injected engine options. So they're gonna be pretty similar to horsepower in the ZT Elite line. The only one that really takes a different jump in horsepower is the Kohler. Goes from a 25 horse in a ZT Elite to a 26 horse in the Maverick series. You'll also notice again, you have that same very, very easy accessibility all throughout to kind of access anything you need to do if you're doing your own maintenance on the machine as well. So the price on a 60-inch Maverick series like this, it's gonna come in at $67.99. A Briggs is gonna come in at about $6,500 in that range, and then the Kawasaki being that premium price point is gonna be just above $7,000. So that's kind of the price points to expect there when you're looking at the Maverick series. So the other big thing to mention about the differences here is the transmission. So both are gonna have Hydro Gear transmissions. The ZT Elite will have Hydro Gear ZT 3100 transmissions, and the Maverick will have ZT 3200 transmissions. So it doesn't make a huge difference in ground speed, maybe around 7 to 8 miles an hour versus 8 to 9 miles an hour, but still just know the Maverick has faster and larger transmissions than the ZT Elite. So if you're comparing the Maverick to the ZT Elite, engine to engine being the same, so for instance, a Kawasaki to a Kawasaki, regardless of which engine you're choosing, it's gonna be about $1,000 difference. So what goes into that $1,000 difference? Number one is gonna be the added suspension points that you get on the Maverick series. Number two, the I-beam frame's a little bit of an upgrade there that adds to the price point. You'll also notice your rollover protection kit comes standard on the Maverick series. And then you're also gonna get the faster transmission. So those are the main features that go into making the machine a little bit more expensive, outside of just noticing the frame on the Maverick is slightly larger overall as well. So when would I choose the upper level residential ZT Elite versus the upper level Maverick? I would probably boil it down to this. I think the ZT Elite's one of the best values in the entire mower industry, being that you can stay under $6,000 at a price point, get suspension, get ZT 3100 transmissions, and a 7-gauge steel deck. I think if you got anywhere between 2 to 4 acres, this is an incredible value. Now, what would make me jump to the Maverick series outside of just having more property, right? If I've got like 3 to 5 acres, maybe 6 acres, and this is more my price point than a full-on commercial mower, that's where obviously I think I'd jump to the Maverick. But if you're kind of in that in-between point and you're trying to figure out purchasing one over the other, the biggest thing I think it comes down to is comfort. Now, something we hear very commonly here from people who walk through our doors is that comfort is king, right? They're looking for something that's very comfortable. They're coming from older mowers that were very harsh on their back, harsh on their lower body, and they're looking for something comfortable. I think if that is you, the Maverick is a great mower to upgrade from the ZT Elite. Where is that comfort coming from? Not only do you have the front suspension, but you get the rear points of suspension as well. That frame is gonna keep you sitting in your seat a lot better. It's gonna absorb a lot of the bounces that's gonna hurt your lower body. And I think that the frame is being a little bit larger is going to help add to that. The other thing is the upgraded seat. Now, you saw that standard ZT Elite seat. If you're not getting the upgraded seat, which comes on the Briggs engine, if you get a Kohler or Kawasaki, that seat I think is just a little bit shorter on the back. It's not nearly as comfortable. So I think again, the Maverick leans towards more comfortability. When you look at it big picture, you're getting the same size gas tank, you're getting the same 7-gauge steel deck, you're gonna get the same arms with the adjustability, you're going to get engine options that are virtually the same horsepower between the two of them. So the Maverick, I think, overtakes the ZT Elite when it comes to comfort. So if you guys thought that Matt maybe got a little bit leaner and better looking, that's not the case. My name's actually Drew. I work here at Howe Equipment with Matt. I'm gonna start jumping into some of these videos now. I've been with him for about 2 years now, and I'm usually the guy behind the camera, and he's now allowed me to graduate to be the guy in front of the camera from time to time. So it's good to see everybody. Appreciate you watching. At the end of the day, either of these mowers are great options for that high-end residential, right? That 2 to 4 acres, maybe 5, 6 acres of property. Either are great options that I think will serve you really well. But we would be curious to see what you think. Do you lean one way or the other? Do you think a ZT Elite's the better value? Maybe the Maverick's the better value? Let us know in the comments if you think that one of these two mowers would actually be the better value or the better choice if you have a larger residential property. We do have a 2024 Bad Boy lineup video. I know these are 2025s, and we'll have that video coming to you real soon. We know you're excited about those. But if you're interested in seeing the 2024 lineup video that we filmed last season, you can click right here to go ahead and see that video. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting, being a part of the community here. We do this because we're guys who are passionate about equipment, and we love hearing your guys' stories and expertise shared in the comments below. So if you like this video, if you want to see some more of these comparisons, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We love this growing family that we're getting here. It really motivates us to keep the content coming out. And as always, appreciate you watching.